Alright guys, we're back with a new Terrace video. If you missed the last one, I made two playlists. Links are in the description. The first playlist is about the rundown abandoned house, the history of the renovations plus the terrace, and a second playlist only about the terrace. So you'll only have the episodes about this terrace. So in the previous episode, I prepared the ground, did the edging, and put down geotextile. I fixed a step with mortar. I had started breaking a step, but I didn't have all the parts for the terrace yet. So I didn't really know how far down I needed to go to fix all that, and to be at the right height to be able to go straight into the house to avoid having a second step. So that's done, and then we did 3 rows of joists with shorter pedestals on the step I leveled out and taller pedestals for the rest. We need to make as much progress as possible with the boards and planks. If I have to do it in 2 steps, I will, but the weather is terrible. It keeps raining. So normally today we should be fine. I'll make as much progress as I can, and then we can lay our decking boards. We're going to turn this house into the Bank of France. We're installing a second camera. After setting up the rayonic camera to catch who puts cans in the gutter, I now know who it is. Now I just have to wait and return his bag of cans. On the garden side, I have more chicken, pork chop, or beef rib thieves throwing things over the fence, either left or right. I'm not sure yet, but we'll find out soon. There's a new friend who's going to play police in the garden. It's the Rayolink OMV3i. It's the latest from Rayolink. So 3 for 3 lenses. We have 3 cameras. It's packed with artificial intelligence. It can tell the difference between an animal, a car, and a human being. So it won't send you an alert every time a turtle sits on a branch or a cat crosses the garden. So in this box, you'll find the camera, the power adapter, an extension cord if needed, the mounting template so you don't make a mistake, the small manuals, wall plugs and screws, and a sticker that you can put on your shutters or windows, protected by Rayolink. The wide-angle lens at the top and bottom, and the 4K turret that rotates. The mounting system is really well designed.
Welcome to Rayolink. Please install the Rayolink app and scan the QR code on the camera.
The camera is installed, I unplugged it, it's ready to work. Once it's ready to work, it talks to you. It tells you that you need to scan the QR code that's on the back of the camera. You scan the QR code with your smartphone. Of course, you've downloaded the app. It'll be recognized automatically, then you connect it to Wi-Fi. If you don't have a Rayolink account, just create one. It's simple, requiring only an email and password. And once it's set up, we can go into the app and, once again, I repeat, define the zones in relation to the neighbors. You shouldn't record there. It's better not to. You don't want to get into that kind of argument with your neighbors like, hey, there's a camera, are you recording my place, and so on. That's just asking for trouble. So you set the boundaries, and then the camera will only record your property. That's where you'll really set the areas to monitor and record. There are a lot of features, there are plenty. You can set up all the alerts, even receive alerts if your phone is in do not disturb mode, critical alerts. So if someone is walking around on your property and your phone is in do not disturb mode, it will still send you an alert and make your phone ring. Of course, we have 4K on the turret, 18 million pixels on the photo tracking panel, and the thing that changes everything is that there's 0 subscription, everything is local. You put in an SD card up to 512 GB NVR NAS and so on. These are your images. You don't pay every month. So what's interesting is that the wide angle doesn't move at all. You'll always have a complete view of your property no matter what happens. On the other hand, the turret will follow me. If I move now, you should see it turn. It follows me everywhere. I'll test it by walking around and hiding behind the eucalyptus to see if it still follows me on the app. If someone enters your property to cause damage or attempt a break-in, the camera will follow the person. The tracking is extremely precise, but you can also tell the camera, I want you to point at a specific spot. So you tap on the screen and it will go exactly where you tapped on the screen. You can also tap on the screen to zoom in automatically. The quality is good enough to zoom in again on the screen to see who the person is, and the details are extremely sharp. And of course, you also have night vision. If someone comes in at night, you will see them perfectly. It will also track them. I showed you a night demo. How does it work? Can we clearly see the back of the garden? Anyway, I'll try to zoom in and show you as much as possible. So of course, all the information is in the description. The little QR code is displayed. You also have the promotion. You get 5 off directly on this camera. So take advantage of it. And now all that's left is to see. We'll wait for him to throw things into the garden. She will follow. The turret will turn in all directions, and she will see other chickens in the garden. The joists are set and adjusted, as are the supports. The supports are at the right height. The concrete has dried well. We'll be able to lay 3 full boards and half of a board. The other half goes to the end. 3 boards and so on. So I really made the length of the deck according to the boards. Otherwise, I would have had to bother with cutting again. So what I did was I intentionally moved this joist further this way and centered this one between this joist and that joist. That's why there's less space here than there. Same thing over there, simply so that my boards stick out slightly. For the finish, I want to make a removable trim all around. But the trim will be flush with the boards. Anyway, we'll talk about it again. I'm going to use the concrete blocks to attach. I'm not really sure what yet. For now, I'm thinking about several ways to make a removable trim on the sides and the front. Here, depending on the boards, if the board comes here, well, I cut here again. And if it comes here, I cut here again. I might actually reuse the offcuts for my trim. But yeah, I'm thinking about several things. So I intentionally brought it in. The boards won't stick out by much, but they will stick out. We'll see how to tweak all that. It absolutely has to be removable so we can clean under the deck. If there are rodents that have made their home, if we need to use an electric grinder again for a robot mower, if we need to put an outlet here, if we need to bring an outlet for an electric barbecue, we can tap into the conduit that's over there. I might add a second conduit if we need a junction box, but let's say we also need a water supply. Well, we'd be glad to be able to take everything apart around the perimeter to work and get rid of rodents that might be living underneath, for example. So the conduit, so as I was saying, look, you see, we have less space here than there. That's because I moved this lamp closer to the edge and centered this one compared to these 2 lamps on the edge. So the conduit starts from the meter. I put concrete between each footing with a slight slope. So I did the waterproofing with the waterproof tape, and we're all set. We're good. So now we can lay our boards. We'll proceed step by step with the team attaching to the lamps on the edge. I'll show you what I set up. I'll demonstrate on a scrap piece since the black waterproof tape is hard to see. As you can see, we have our starting point for the board is here, screwed into the edge board. Ideally, don't do what I did. Avoid putting concrete pads under slabs and pedestals. Use crushed gravel everywhere instead. Solidor recommends this and they're right. It's the best solution. You have crushed gravel delivered in a big bag, or you go pick it up yourself with your truck. You spread all that out, you compact it, and you make a slight slope toward the garden so the water drains away if there's heavy rain. And once that's done, once you've leveled everything and it's well compacted, you place the adjustable pedestals directly on the crushed gravel or on a concrete slab underneath. The adjustable pedestal goes on top. You screw or unscrew it depending on the height. You put down your joists and keep going, and at least the whole area is done. The street isn't very wide, so they're going to deliver it to me. The crane will never be able to go over the house because it's too long. They won't even take the risk anyway, because even if the truck puts down its stabilizers, there's going to be a little problem, so they won't even take the risk. They're going to leave it in front of the gate. They're going to bring it slightly into the yard for me. And I have to bring everything in with a wheelbarrow. But bringing everything in with a wheelbarrow means either I go through the garage and the door isn't very wide, or I go through the house. But through the house, I don't want to damage the patio doors, so I have to protect the thresholds. Bringing everything in is a lot of handling, and then I have to prepare everything. But all of that has a cost, and the construction budget isn't unlimited. So if I had the choice, well, yes, I would bring in crushed gravel, I would have it delivered, I would get help. Anyway, but all of that costs money, or I could bring in 29 bags of 25 kilo concrete, and the budget for 29 bags of 25 kilo concrete compared to 3.5 big bags to bring in with a wheelbarrow, plus the days of preparation, you can imagine the calculation was done pretty quickly. But the best practice, the right method under the adjustable pedestals is crushed gravel, and that's what Solidor recommends. And you don't have to put a thick layer of it. Solidor, they have several heights of adjustable pedestals. They even have risers for the pedestals. They have the lift sole system if you have a thick layer under your deck. They have plenty of solutions. They even have stabilizing slabs for gravel. But we could imagine putting stabilizing slabs all around the deck with gravel, and if the pedestals stick out slightly over the stabilizing slabs, it's not a big deal. If anything, it even reinforces the ground. So there you go, they have plenty of solutions, but ideally put crushed gravel everywhere. Come on, I'll show you on the OSB board how the lineup system goes together. For those who haven't seen the first video, you'll see that it's super easy to set up. The OSB board represents prepared ground, geotextile, crushed gravel, gravel, soil, sand, whatever the surface, you place the pedestal directly on it. A second pedestal, you adjust the level by screwing or unscrewing. Once you've set the right level, we'll get the plates. So here, these are the plates for the joists and the wooden deck boards. So it's the lineup system. And actually, the lineup system can also be used for cladding. Here, we're building a deck at ground level. The plates also exist for 60 by 60 tiles. So if you want to lay 60 by 60 tiles, the plate just clips right onto the pedestal, just like the plate for the joists. It clips onto the pedestal in the same way. Once that's done, we take our joist, which is 2.4 meters long. If I need to extend it with a second joist, I just use this piece. I insert it into the joist, then I take the second joist, and that's what it looks like. Here, we've extended our joists. Add a third or fourth as needed. Next, we're going to clip the joist. There we go, just like this. Once it's clipped in, we're going to take this piece for the start and the end. So I insert it here. It can also be used if you have very little clearance. You can let it rest on the floor. It can be used as a support. We put it hop into the joist. We're going to put a screw to lock it in place. So I'll show you what it looks like. And so you understand now that my deck board fits into a groove. Well, I'll be able to hop. It stays in place and fits inside. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but that's what it looks like. And once that's done, I'm going to put it like this so it doesn't tip over. I take a lineup clip that looks like this. Okay, I clip it on the board and I bring it closer. And so now I've tightened my blade onto the lamp. I continue with a second blade, a third blade. And every 3 blades will be able to screw this clip onto the lamode. You don't have to put a screw for every blade, for every clip. Here, for example, for my first row, I'm going to put in a screw. I'm putting in 3 blades. I put the clip back between each blade, but on the third one, just a screw. And now you have the complete lineup system. And you see it's pretty simple to assemble. So our first plank, I'll show you right away what I have. I'm going to cut the tongue, and over there, you'll need to cut the groove. Otherwise, it'll show in the finish. It might not look great. So make sure to cut the end. I need to straddle this joist. Yes, I'll also show you that if needed for 2 or 3 rows, let's say, I can still move my joist back if needed.
Because here,
Obviously, I have some doubts about the alignment of the facade. But it's my second line anyway that will determine the alignment since the boards are staggered. So for now, we put it like this. Let's keep it simple. We'll add the second one, and that'll give us our second row. We'll pull the joist if needed so that it fits well into the small pieces you can see and that I showed you earlier. All right, I'm putting it in now. There, we're pretty good. Now I'm straddling it. We're good. We can pull on it to make sure we're good.
there you go.
The second board. Of course, we don't cut the tongue. Otherwise, there will be a problem. Nor the groove. There, now we're good. We do the same for the third one. So once our board is cut, we put it in place. We have a groove in the small pieces. Here, it sticks out for my finishing strip that will come up flush against this board with a small gap, of course. And there you go. So the section starts again over there, and we continue with full-length boards. So 3.5 boards each time, staggered. And it's the second row that will determine the alignment with the facade. So the board we cut, half of it goes over there, and the other half will come here. But before that, we need to put in the lineup clips I showed you earlier to hold the boards in place. So we clip this in there and bring it into the board. We do the same thing here. So here you understand that it's clamped between the piece at the end of the row and this piece. Thank you. There you go. And now we recover. Half of it and we put it in like this. And then, of course, we check to make sure it's flush. There, we're good. Now I'm going to put all the clips on the joists. And then, as I explained to you, I can still move my joists back for alignment. Basically, I can do it for 2 or 3 rows, but not more. At the end of the 3rd row, I'll add screws, making things more complicated. Here, I need to add clips and my joist, which fits into this one. But to prevent this little piece from moving, you just use a clamp. You take the 2 boards, and now it won't move. So as for alignment, honestly, we're pretty good. I checked with a chalk line. It's perfect. Well, the facade angles off a bit like this, but I won't be able to work miracles. So what we're going to do is use all these self-drilling screws provided by Solidor. You can find them at Solidor. So these are self-drilling screws, and we screw them directly into the joist. That's done. Let's continue with the others. Let's take a quick look at the decking boards from Mozo Bamboo. I'll put the link in the description. Their website is Mozo Bamboo. These decking boards, for me, they've stayed outside under the eucalyptus for quite some time. They haven't changed at all. They're still just as straight. So it's just a pleasure to install them. And you can tell it's really high quality. So Mozo Bamboo makes outdoor products with decking boards, but also siding, screens, and so on. They also make interior products with battens. And why not flooring as well? In short, they have a lot of products. Go check them out. The decking boards come with a 25-year warranty. One side is smooth and the other is grooved. So you can choose whichever side you want. That's what I want to tell you. But for our project, we're going to use the smooth side. But let's imagine you absolutely need a non-slip strip. Well, you could flip the boards over and use them to make a non-slip border, or maybe a step. Anyway, you see what I mean. Mozo Bamboo, link in the description, is really high quality. Thanks. So I took a little break because we just got hit by a heavy downpour and my gutter is still leaking. As long as I don't replace it, I'll keep getting drops of water on my head every time I walk underneath. And now the sun is coming out. We'll be able to keep going. But it's annoying because every time I have to bring all the gear inside, the serradiel, the stand, everything. Let me take this opportunity to show you. So a long board straddling a joist, another long board straddling a joist. Same thing here. We take a plank and cut it in half. One half here, the other half goes right there. So that's what it gives us. Long board half, long board half, long board half, and so on. I put screws on the second row since that's my starting row, with the first one held by the clips against the front. Then add screws every 3 or 4 boards. Solidor suggests placing a screw in the clips every 3 to 4 boards. That's more than enough. No need to put screws in every clip. Otherwise, that would be a lot of screws. So this is what it looks like once it's screwed in and it doesn't move at all anymore. You can see that when I showed you the lamode could be moved as long as it wasn't screwed in, that was possible. But now that there are screws in the lamodes, well, it's hard to pull on the lamode. But there's no need to pull anymore since now we're completely aligned with the front, even if the front is a little off like this. What matters to me is that I'm aligned for my deck boards. So the solid system Well, with the clip on the lander board, it's just awesome. It goes super fast. The boards are very dirty from being stored outside under the eucalyptus tree, so I'll need to clean them. But overall, it's great. I'm really happy with the result. It's super quick to do. It doesn't move at all. You could jump on it and it wouldn't budge. I made myself an NBA NBI floor. I should put a nice logo on it and it would look like an NBI floor. Well, the terrace isn't mine, so I don't know if the owner will like it. But anyway, of course, I'll have to cut the joists. For now, I put some clips just to keep this line in place, but I'll have to remove them and put the same ones we used at the start. In the joists, but I'll have to cut the joists. And here, well, I lined it up, of course. But I could still cut it again because right now it's pretty deep. I don't know if you can see it. Do I really need that much depth? Not sure, because we'll be attaching it to the concrete posts. Same thing on the front. We'll reuse the joists. Or I have a lot of ideas with invisible systems. I'll show you everything. Well, we'll see that in a future video. But I have a lot of ideas for the fascia. We could make it out of mozo bamboo, or we could make it out of corten steel. So with decking boards, I'm thinking that using the edge trimmer won't be great. We'll damage them. We could do half wood, half corten steel, or full corten steel. Anyway, like I said, I have a lot of ideas for the finishing touches, so we'll see how we do all that. Then we'll need to treat this deck and clean it well. And cover everything, because right now, yes, there are a lot of leaves starting to fall on it. So if I want to take care of all that, yeah, I'll have to cover everything with a huge tarp. I'm making a big raincoat for the terrace so I can take care of it. I just cleaned everything, some water and a little broom just to scrub gently, and I'll let you admire the result. It's all nice, it's all clean. On Mozo's website, I'll put the links in the description. If I find any, I imagine they sell products for terrace maintenance. Don't wait until your terrace turns all green and full of bird droppings. To take out the pressure washer and say, come on, I'll use this on it, it'll clean everything. Absolutely no pressure washer on a terrace. At most, use low pressure. You set it to a maximum of 40 bars, keeping your distance, and then you can clean if you really have to. If there's a stain that's really embedded, but normally a wooden terrace needs gentle cleaning, so use products suited to the type of wood, so the links are in the description. A terrace requires regular maintenance to prevent stains or bird droppings from soaking into the wood, or you'll need to sand it down later. For this terrace, I'm going to lightly sand it so I can then apply a product that will even out the color. Here, for example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 boards that are slightly lighter, but with my product, you'll see that it will even out the color. And we'll still have the mozo bamboo look, so we'll talk about that again. But for now, I'm happy because I've cleaned everything. And it's all nice and clean, so that's what it is. It was stored under the eucalyptus, with the rain and everything that fell on it, and well, it didn't look great at all.